Welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln, where we take a look around the Lincoln, Nebraska area and introduce you to business owners and influential people in the city. We are brought to you by Perch Merch. Perch Merch is a locally owned, custom screen printing and embroidery apparel shop that also specializes in vehicle wraps, decals, and all sorts of promotional products. If your business, school, or team is looking to expand your brand, head to perch-merch.com or call us at 402-217-5212.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Brand Lincoln. I am your host, Chris Beecham. I'm joined by my co-host, Henry Schmidt.
Afternoon, Chris. What's up?
Not much. And producer, DJ, Joe Cruz, American Role Model, whatever. Joe Cruz.
You finally got my notes. Thank you.
I did. I took out about half of them.
I got to come up with something better.
So before we introduce our guest, just want to remind everybody, please like, follow on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. You can also find us on basically any social media thing at Brand Lincoln Podcast. That would include Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yes.
We've added it all.
YouTube now?
Yeah, added YouTube last night.
I'll let my father-in-law know. He's a big YouTube guy.
Got it. So we'll be adding reels and stuff to that, and then we'll be doing video tours of our guest locations soon as well. So stay tuned. So today in the Perch Merch studio is Natalie Micale, who owns Oh Hello Marketing Agency.
Hi. It's Micale.
Is it really?
Yeah, but it's okay.
You want to start over?
No.
We've said it wrong for like a week and a half.
I've been saying it wrong for 8 years
everyone
since
says it
Balone
like
was
that. Micale. It's Micale. I'm Italian, so I have to rep it.
Got it.
It's
I
Micale,
totally understand.
You know?
Okay.
Oh, we should say it like that.
Yep.
Chris, you want to try that again?
Try that.
Micale.
Micale. Use the hands.
Yeah, you got to use.
I'm Irish.
I knew something was up. They told me your name, and then when I read it, I was like, that's not Mikhail. But I kept it to
I'm proud
myself.
of you,
I'm
Joe.
sorry. Thank you.
Man. Okay. Well, anyway.
We're off to a great start.
Yes. So we have our oh shit moments, because oh shit can mean a bunch of different things. So can oh hello. Mm-hmm. So
Maybe I should change the name.
it all depends on how you say it. Like, oh.
Chris, you better
Hello.
trademark that.
You know.
You better trademark that.
Which
before
part?
she takes it.
Oh, shit. That
Oh,
would be
shit.
a great name for a company.
Yes. We'll work on that with
There's
with you
something
later.
there.
Then.
It's a oh hello or oh hell no.
So many different options. Okay, let's get into it. So tell us how Oh Hello came about.
Oh, boy. Well, I think that because as a founder, we're always so tied to the company, you kind of have to start with yourself. So I got to Nebraska on a musical theater scholarship.
Oh.
I got a full ride to Nebraska Wesleyan. And I went there for 4 years. 2 years in, I decided instead of being a broke actress, I wanted to be a broke news reporter. Because why not, right? So went and worked in D.C., then came back to Lincoln. I got a job at 1011, and I anchored and reported there for 4.5 years. And right at the point where I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want to be going to 12th and F for, stabbings and alone in the dark at 3 a.m, right? I mean, like, there's some scary stuff you do as a local news reporter. Right at that point, a friend of mine introduced me to a guy named Andrew Tuzon, and he had started an agency called Evil Empire. And
Drew.
You know Drew.
What?
Drew got us started.
Yeah, I know who Drew is.
Drew got you started.
Yes, he's the one who came up with the name Perch Merch.
Okay,
Everything.
so he's like my brother.
Okay.
In terms of like, we could not talk for 8 months and then pick up the phone and talk for like 4 hours. Like he plucked me from 1011, and I was the only person he interviewed, and he said, I'm going to make you my head of sales. You're going to make a lot of money here. You're going to learn a lot. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about digital marketing. And he hired me. And Drew, thank you. I'm very grateful. He gave me an awesome opportunity for 2 years. I got to build the sales team. I made great money. I helped, run the startup. He put me on the leadership team. It was awesome. And then, Andrew decided to sell to Firespring. I'm sure you know that background. And when that happened, he's like, look, you can either stay on or what's next? And so myself and Davey, the chief marketing officer, Davey Owens, who is also really good friends with Drew.
Funny fact about Drew is we were negotiating through text on deciding if we wanted to become best friends. So if you know Drew, this is probably completely up
That's
his alley.
yes.
I mean, we
yes.
were literally going
Yes.
back and forth trying to compromise on some things.
Don't forget
And-
to mention your tree house that you guys
Yes,
have.
and we are also building a treehouse. So
I love this. This all sounds like Drew. Anyway, so I decided to start Oh Hello with Davey and Dan, two guys from Evil. And I have to tell you, I don't think I would have started it alone. Like, I think I was just really scared to go out on my own. And Davey was the CMO of Evil. Dan was working on the web design side. And so the first year was just a shit show, like really, really hard. We were just grinding. We were making every single mistake you can make that we swore we would never make because we'd been in an agency before watching Drew make the mistakes, right? But we did. And, Davey's wife got pregnant. They decided to have a kid. And Dan was in music, and so they were like, hey, we're thinking we're going to go in other directions. And so I was like, well, I'll buy it from you guys, which, wasn't worth much, and keep going. And so that decision led me on a path of being the CEO and primary owner for the last 6 years. I can say that there were so many things they helped me lay the foundation of that made it a lot more enjoyable for me. Things that we just had to figure out together, like how to hire offshore work, how to test contractors, like when to put people on salary, healthcare, all those different things, right? The last 6 years, I've been the lead brand strategist. That's really my role and background, is like not only sales, but like leading in brand strategy and helping to develop brands with a framework behind them. And so I've developed our proprietary framework. We're really well known in the Midwest for like our branding and our design work. That's an area, and with strategy behind it, that's an area that we're really strong at. And now we've got a team of 12 to 13 people. I scale it up with contractors based on workflow. And that's our story. So
that's good.
Yeah.
What year was the original then started?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018. Man, that's a long time ago.
So would you say you specialize in small businesses, startups, bigger ones?
This is the hardest thing to answer, because you start with small businesses, but then your pricing as you elevate your portfolio work ends up edging them out. So when a small business comes to us, typically the only thing we can do for them is some consulting or running some paid ads based on their spend. We don't work with a lot of small businesses. I mean, we typically need at least a revenue of 5 to 10 million for them to be able to afford our $165 an hour price, right? And it's at a premium because we've made all the mistakes and we've, built a framework, and we have a really strong team of strategists and designers. And you're not just getting, a website, you're getting a framework in which you can build your entire business on to drive traffic to.
So what kind of advice would you give to somebody who came in for a consulting? Like, what's the best piece of advice to get to that 5 million that you would tell them, like, here's what you need to do, come back after you've done that, and hopefully it works?
Henry, write this down.
Oh, I have a pen and paper ready to go.
So
I'm recording it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I do consulting. It ranges between $220 to $375 an hour, depending on what people need on our team. Myself included, I'm $375 an hour. We can have another strategist do it at a lower cost, and we've kind of tiered our pricing that way. One of the things with consulting that is really helpful for a small business is figuring out your ICP, so your ideal customer profile. Most people come in and they haven't done the strategy work to really understand that target audience. And an ICP is different than a buyer persona. So they might have an idea of their ICP, which is like, here are the value propositions of what someone's looking for. That's their ICP. Like, I kind of know the value propositions of like what the person who is going to buy my product is looking for and like roughly who they are, but they haven't gone deep and pursued creating customer avatars, which are very specific buyer personas with gender, revenue, job type, psychographics, and you need both. You need to start with a high level ICP and kind of test the market, and then you need to drill down and really get into your buyer personas. So, if you take a business like Blown, for example, which is one of my favorite hair salons in the entire world.
I have heard of it.
You might have. They have you can tell by their productization, they really know their audience. Like, they know that South Lincoln mom is their target primary, right? And then their secondary is that affluent, 28 to 32-year-old who's in the professional world who doesn't have time to get their hair done. And so their products really match that. So if you don't know your customer avatar like the back of your hand, like if you can't tell me what they're thinking about, worried about when they go to sleep at night, you're probably not in a good position to develop a business. And that's a big part of the consulting work that I do, is helping people wade through that, and then understanding that if you want to launch a business and you want to get to 5, 10, 15 million, it becomes about really failing forward, testing things quickly in terms of products with landing pages, with pre-offers where people have to put their card in before you necessarily go get the product, and getting sticky with your offers, which means that you're seeing some traction and some validation before you're putting all of the eggs in one basket. I see a lot of clients come through who want to start an e-commerce brand, and they might have this like really creative idea or this wacky product. But if you can't show me that 100 people are willing to put their credit card in for that product as a pre-order, you don't have a business. You have a fun idea.
With the pre-orders, yeah, that's guaranteed money. You're not going to take a loss.
And for a $29 product, if somebody's not willing to pre-order it, the demand is not high enough. So that's a big part of what I do in consulting is like trying to talk people into doing more research and to validating either their audience or their idea or even a new product, because oftentimes a $2 to $3 million company, they'll want to bring in a new product to try and get to $5 or $6 million. They're going to want to bring in a new, whether it's a new product or service, but how do they validate that and what's the step to doing that? And then what's that marketing, really, I'm really consulting about is like, what's the marketing strategy look like to validate that?
So what all services do you offer?
Great question. So we have a brand development side. We use the word brand because we specifically want to work with clients who are passionate about brand and storytelling. If you don't care about having a brand and you just, want to be the cheapest or the fastest, that's fine. That's not us. That's not who we're going to serve. So our brand development side includes visual identity, brand strategy and positioning, and market research, as well as web design and development, and then collaterals and design. So designing anything that you can see and touch of a brand, like this magazine. Then our brand management side includes PR, digital marketing services, SEO, and content creation. So for instance, we just took on a client called Thrift World. Love you guys. Super fun account. We built some brand strategy into that account. We spent the first month really refining their brand voice, refining the brand identity for social, really working on a comprehensive strategy of how are we going to approach the social. Now we're in the brand management side. We've moved them from that, initial part where we took them through our framework, which every agency has a framework, or most agencies should. We took them through our discovery framework, and now we're going into execution, which means sending somebody out to shoot that content, to create that brand voice through social, through actual ideation coming to life, and managing their social media.
There's a lot more to this than you know what I mean? Like I assume as a small business owner, sometimes you think you just got to get your stuff out there. But it doesn't
you do
matter.
In the beginning. When you're under $500,000, you need to get stuff out there and you need to do it fast. You need to pump it out really fast. That's why a freelancer or an intern for under $500,000 is really, really like the best way that you can go. Then you maybe hire somebody like us to consult and help develop the strategy. But the freelancer, the social media intern, Intern Nebraska, we just got Intern Nebraska. Have you guys heard about that program?
I have not.
So Intern Nebraska right now, I completely forget the total amount of the grant, but it's a program where every summer and fall and spring, I believe I got those 3 term times right for when you can apply. You can apply as a small business and you can get, you can basically say, this is who I'm looking for as an intern. And then they will basically reimburse you for up to 50% of your spend on an intern. So like right now we just got the grant. So we got an intern and we're paying them, I think $14 an hour for a year, 25 hours a week. They will reimburse us 50% of that cost. And it's part of an overall initiative with the Nebraska Economic Development Department to basically focus in on keeping Nebraska talent here. So if I had a small business that, we just did this program, but if I was a small business that had like a team with very little marketing resources and very little marketing knowledge, one of the first things I would do this fall is I would go apply for an intern, and I would get a social media marketing intern and a content marketing intern. And I would get 2 people who are really passionate and excited about my business, and you can get reimbursed for that money. And then I would hire an agency, someone like us is great, but any agency that you trust to have a block of 10 to 12 hours to build the strategy of what that intern or interns are going to do. That's what I would do if I was under $500,000.
Yeah.
That's
got it.
Some great advice. I didn't even know, I guess, why would I know that was out there, but yeah, wow.
And you should always be checking grants because it's not just for women. It's not just, I know that there's a lot of people that think grants are just for like the diversity, equity, and inclusion, but like, yes, there are grants for that. But like, this is a great grant for Nebraska businesses. And, I have Shauna Dorsey, like heads up. She runs Nebraska Tech Collaborative. She gave me this information and we're so excited. We have an awesome intern for the year and that's expanding our profitability. And it's somebody that I think we could even hire. So yeah. You guys should get one.
We should.
Yeah, on it. Joe, you want to be it?
Do I want to be the intern?
The intern?
No, I think we could get a screen printer intern.
He's not eligible. You have to be within 1 year of graduating college if you are going post-college. So,
Yep, way past that.
and I think I got 99.9% of those facts right. But if I missed a fact, guys, go to Intern Nebraska and check out the website. I'm hoping that I can help get the word out because it's just so great that it's helping Nebraskans.
It's very beneficial for everybody.
So beneficial.
Yes.
You guys can get somebody.
Okay, we'll get right on that.
Yeah. What other questions you got for me?
What would you say is your most fun campaign? That like most
creativity or unique.
Everyone like, man, I wish I could do that one again. Like,
oh my gosh. Hold on. We did this client called the Dairy Fairy, and
It's like perch merch. The Dairy Fairy. Do they have a cool cow as their mascot?
it was all about like bras for women who have just had a baby.
I was not close.
I was going a whole different direction on that.
I was actually right there.
And so, like, I gotta tell you, like, Davey came up with like some really funny shit. I'm trying to remember exactly what was on there, but like these like cards you could give out that like had little taglines about like it was something like free the nip but not free the nip, like things like that. And it was just really fun and creative. There's another one we did with a company called Midwest Barrel Co. And, I'm a little biased because the owner of that is one of my close friends. But
I'm aware of them.
Yeah, we built their website, and it was just so fun. Like craft, like their entire concept is barrels. They sell wine, whiskey, and wine and whiskey barrels, and then you put you can put craft beer in it and then create an aged craft beer over time.
They find the barrels and
source the
resell
barrels.
them to breweries.
And resell them to breweries,
yep.
wineries, and distilleries. And so we did their website. We did their website twice. I got to work with one of my best friends over a period of 4 years. There were definitely some ups and downs to that, as you can imagine, but it was super fun. And it's just such an interesting business model. And that company has grown tremendously during that time. So like we have a great case study on them. And yeah, it's just like that was like a Nebraska-based business that is still kicking ass. They did move to Louisville because that's the heart of where their industry is. But they're just kicking butt, taking names. 2 Nebraskans who were like, they started. Ben Lowski started the company like selling stuff out of his garage, and then Jess was like, "What are you doing, bro? Like, can we turn this into something real?" And I met them a year later, and they've become 2 of my friends. She's one of those people. She'll be in my wedding. Like, I don't think you get many opportunities to work with companies that you can like truly look at like the culture and what they're building and the founders and go, I not only believe in you, but like I would come work for them. And who knows, in 10 years, Jess, you never know. So, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, they'd actually be a really good, if they're not in Lincoln anymore, it might be difficult. But I heard their story before. And, yeah, starting off just thrifting stuff and then kind of stumbled into the barrel business. And
to me, it's not about like the type of campaign. It's more about the caliber of the people you're working with. Because if you can get behind their vision and their mission, then you work harder.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah. Fact.
Yeah.
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 We had like my wife owns Blown, and they
what
do she's on episode 2.
Yes.
Oh, that was her. Okay,
same thing. Like we think of the things we should put on shirts, but at the same time, it's like she's like, I got a lot of good ones.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I mean, and like that's a business that they really know their ICP. They really know their ideal customer profile. They know their different avatars. Like they know their clients so well. They know that I'm going to be 10 minutes late to every appointment because I'm running around with work and that I'm losing my mind. So they schedule me accordingly. I mean, they just know their customers. And I think that's why they're so successful. So
okay. So what would you say is a campaign that didn't work out?
Oh, we've had plenty.
Yeah.
Gosh. So this is back with Drew and Davey.
Yeah, throw Drew under the bus.
Well, we tried. We tried. I remember like nootropics had just come out, and it was like this.
Do you know what those are, Chris?
I do not.
I also do not know what that is.
Well, good, because neither do I.
Is it a Pokemon?
It's like a type of pill that you take for like.
It's in pre-workout. It's a focusing agent. You have some on your desk.
Oh, that's what that is?
The Starbucks extra shot.
No.
No.
The skull cap.
It's brain health and
Okay.
thought processes.
This was like this was like 7 or 8 years ago, so it was a little newer. Now I think people are really coming around to the idea that that's something that's like legal and like actually good for you.
Yeah, Joe taking his little mushroom capsules in 2018 was a little frowned upon, but
it's legal.
Now people
Yeah,
are
let me
like,
start off.
okay.
It's legal.
We tried doing some ads for that client, and like we could not get it to work. And I remember us like sitting up at night being like, how do we get this product sold? And like nothing was working. I can't even tell you like that the campaigns weren't good, but like the product was so weird and people were freaked out and commenting like spammy things. And the other thing that was a total crash and burn is we had this client we did champagne popsicles that were alcoholic for, and we did their website. And like
I love it.
I think the designer on that project like just didn't do a good job, so it looked like the popsicle was like running all over the website page, and the client was like yelling at us, and we were like, "We're sorry, we'll refund you. We're trying to figure out what happened with this designer." Like
Like
just,
a popsicle with legs?
Yeah,
Just
it
kinda...
looked so bad. Like
that's supposed to be Joe's line.
Yeah, it was not good. I mean, I think that with the marketing agencies, the truth is that you're going to have more L's than W's. And you know what, marketing agencies that say that's not true? Here's why. Because marketing is not sales, but people think it's sales, right? So marketing should expand your brand recognition. It should lead to sales. But we just had a campaign at Oh Hello where we got them 125 leads over 6 months. And they told us they called those leads 1 to 2 times. We had 6 meetings where we explained to them, you need to call a lead on average, a cold lead, 8 to 9 times to set an appointment. Okay. They fired us. I mean, they fired us last night. They said, we're going in a different direction. Their ads, like when you look at the performance, amazing. The guy that's running the ads on my team, super talented. Manages over 10 million a year, and not just for this agency. Those ads are performing amazing. But we tried to hammer that in, and they didn't have the processes and the procedures set up with a CRM, with connection points, or a salesperson who was communicating back to us. What are those leads like? I mean, we're pushing for answers. So to them, they're like, that was wasted money. And to us, we're like, you have so much opportunity here. That happens frequently. A lot of businesses are not set up properly to do marketing. They haven't established their sales process. And that is just as important, if not more important, than marketing. Marketing can send you so many leads. If you don't have a CRM, if you don't have a salesperson who's got a trained process of how they follow up, you're going to have a lot of problems. So,
yeah, and I feel like people, yes, they're paying you the money they expect.
The results.
Yes.
Yes.
And they're going to blame you, even though, yes.
But you did 90% of the work, not 100% of the work in that case.
Correct. We can get you the leads. You got to knock them down. And there are agencies that do the whole soup to nuts thing. It's just you're going to pay for that, right? You're going to pay triple. And so the risk is higher. So it's all about what you want as a business owner.
Did you say soup to nuts?
I think I did. Is that not a phrase?
I don't know. I've never heard it before, but I
think
mean,
it
I don't
is.
hate it.
That.
Soup
to nuts.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It is now. We're gonna make it TikTok famous.
Soup to nuts.
Soup to
Okay,
nuts.
yes, so it is. It's soup to nuts is an American English idiom that conveys the meaning of from beginning to end, derived from the description of a full course dinner.
Soup to nuts.
Yeah,
you start with the soup and you
I eat my
end
nuts
with the
first.
nuts. Okay. What did you say?
I eat my nuts first, and then I have the soup. Actually, I assumed it was like soup, and then you go nuts.
Soup to nuts.
All right.
This got
Soup.
derailed.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, so, back on track. I was looking at your Instagram.
Oh, yeah, that was you. I'll follow you back.
And-
I didn't know who
well,
you were.
thanks.
And then I saw some weird corn thing or something. And I was like,
There was a lot of weird stuff.
It could
but
be
I now will follow you back gladly.
There's a question, Joe.
I bet you get that a lot, Joe.
I do get that a lot. Like, I wasn't sure what was going on with that. It was a lot of weird stuff. You do a lot of collaborations. Is that just you branding, or is that with Oh Hello?
You know, I got to be honest. I'm feeling kind of lost as a creator right now. Like, I don't know where I'm going as a creator because I don't really want to keep talking about just my marketing agency all the time. Like, it's entertaining and it's fun, but like, I really want to talk about other things that I'm passionate about. Like, I live and breathe my marketing agency every single day. So it's like, I don't really want to get on Instagram and be like, do you know how to build a brand? Like, I've been doing that for 6.5 years.
Yeah. And there's a lot of those.
And there's a lot of those. What I'm really trying to focus on right now is, like, what are the stories that I really feel passionate about telling about my lived experiences? And this might sound like a completely different direction, but I've been doing a lot of research on, like, the toxicities around us when it comes to the things that are in our cleaners, the things that are in our technology, sustainability and wellness. Like, I'm really passionate about a lot of that stuff. And so for me, like, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. I do a lot of collaborations with local businesses because I love Nebraska, and, like, I've been here for 13 years, and this is where I'm going to raise a family. This is where I'm going to get married. Like, this, I'm from Houston, Texas, and, like, I've turned Nebraska into a beautiful home. So I love celebrating everything that Nebraska has to offer. I love supporting small businesses, and I love supporting other female entrepreneurs. Like, that's really important to me. But as a creator, I'm, like, thinking about what I want to talk about. And I'm like, man, I've been doing a lot of personal work on things like, you know, how these toxic things in our household cleaners and our laundry, like, can cause cancer. Like, I've been doing a lot of research just trying to up my own health game and wellness game. And then, of course, I'm a fitness nut. I teach, 6 to 7 fitness classes a week. I've been doing fitness since I was 16. My boyfriend is a yoga instructor and a wellness coach as well as an entrepreneur. Like, we really strive not to drink. I strive not to drink. He's been sober for 9 years, so but
he's decent at it. You'd
yeah,
say?
He's decent at it. I have really been working on just limiting alcohol intake, and so wellness and sustainability and those two things. Holistic healing, all of those things. Like, I don't trust modern medicine anymore. Like, I'll go to a doctor, but they don't really give you all the answers, not even half of them. So those are the things that I'm trying to figure out how to direct my content towards, because I'm a female entrepreneur who has been living with high cortisol stress levels since I was 16. I've worked 3 jobs since I was 16. Like, I'm now trying to kind of peel back the veil and figure out how do I build a sustainable life for myself as I enter this next era of raising a family and getting married and doing those things. So that's kind of where I hope to take my content. And I'm really glad you asked that question, because I've been feeling can I go in that direction, or will the audience go with me, or will I still grow? And I think there's fear behind that when you're a creator. So
I think people are questioning the products they're buying a lot more than they were even 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Significantly more. Yes. Yeah, I mentioned to Joe once in a while to look at the amount of ingredients in his Starbucks.
Don't bring me into this, man. This isn't about me.
And if you can't read over half the things in it, you probably shouldn't be drinking it.
Yeah, I've switched to mushroom coffee. The coffee from the mill is my favorite, but I've switched to mushroom coffee. I started doing Cafe Botanica as one of our clients. Go Cafe Botanica! So amazing. You should interview Angela. And she's become a great friend, and she's taught me so much about what's going on in my body and metal cleanses and all these things. And I don't think you can take anything that anyone tells you as 100%. This is the Bible. That you can't do that. But you do, especially as an entrepreneur, for me, it's very important to have an optimal day where I'm optimized at the highest level that I can. So what is the best way to do that? That's why all this stuff on Instagram is coming out of entrepreneurs being this is my routine for 5 a.m. mornings, and this is my, because it's to run a business and to have thousands of things thrown at you every single month and to be doing all the things you're doing, you really do have to, if you want to build something, you have to be operating at a higher level than the average person. And so to do that, you have to figure out what's going in your body and how your body reacts. And for me, that comes down to not only reading labels, but listening to podcasts and just completely educating myself on what's going in my body.
Yes. So let's move to your oh shit moments.
Oh, I've had many of them.
Let's start with the good. How about that?
Okay.
Let's start with the first time you're oh shit, this oh hello is hello. Yeah, it's going to work.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you ever know it's going to work. If you're really striving, you don't ever know if it's going to work because you're trying to hit the next level, right? That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I think the first moment that was an oh shit moment, and Davey Owens, I hope you hear this. We got this island in the Philippines called Siargao to let us build their website.
Oh.
Surigao. It's the surf capital of the world. I think they closed the project.
Oh, yeah, Surigao, the surf capital of the world.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that website.
I think they closed the website because of during COVID. I'm pretty sure, so I don't think it's still up. But I remember like it was I think it was like a $45,000 website, and we were 3 months in, and I remember Davey was like, if we get that website, we're hiring somebody. And I was like, okay, if we get that website, we're hiring someone. And we didn't think we were going to get it. And then we got it, and I remember being on the phone with him like, yeah! And it was cool. It was such a cool project, right? We're talking about surfing.
Yeah. Did you have to go there, to do some research?
We didn't get a chance to go there, and it takes 24 hours to get there.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't really in the project budget, but we did have a really good time. We built a beautiful site and researching that, island, and it was really fun. So that was definitely a good moment. I think another oh shit moment for me was when I landed a really large retainer client who I'm not going to say the name of because I'm hoping to get them back because they ran out of marketing money, and then I'm hoping to get them back. But they were a really, really large company. I mean, they were $100 million a year company, and we got them on a retainer of like $35,000 a month, and it was like my first time doing that. And then we did great work for them, and it was just like, this is like
builds and builds off of that after you.
That's what you hope. I mean, I will say agency life is so volatile. Like, I'm not going to tell you like all of our clients pay that. They don't, right? As far as the future goes, I'm looking at expanding. And there's a couple of different ways that I'm going to be doing that. I'm not going to share all of them here, but I'm looking at a few options for how we're going to be competitive with AI and stay ahead of this agency world where AOR isn't necessarily as big of an option, and we have a few partners internationally that we're exploring those options with. So I'm excited for that.
Little teaser.
You have to check the Instagram in 3 weeks.
There you go. Just weed through the vegan,
brand collaborations and vegan sustainability.
That's fine. Okay, so
maybe they want to look at that too.
I mean, yes, they will, but I'm just saying it'll be in between those.
Yeah, and me and
between the soup and nuts.
Me and my
you'll learn.
I love it. In between the soup and nuts.
I will be using that phrase for a while. So let's move to your bad oh shit. When was the time that you thought that, maybe you lost a big client or something and you were like, this is it. I'm going to have to go back to the news and follow shootings.
And go to F Street.
Yeah.
If anybody's listening on F Street.
I'm sorry if you live on F Street. I didn't mean to.
Name drop.
It's not a good area. Sorry. That's based on crime statistics, okay?
Yes.
So I've had a lot of them. I would say it doesn't bother me when we get fired because we get fired all the time. Like, there's 1,000 different reasons. We ran out of money. We're bringing it in-house. Like, I had somebody fire me and say, like, somebody died in our house this week and we're just not going to be able to continue working with you. Or someone died that's very close to us and we don't have the bandwidth to continue working with you. I was like, okay. Like,
yeah, what are you supposed to say to that?
Yeah. What are you
in the early years, would you get offended? Like,
I would
or taking it personally?
I would take it so
like,
personally, and I would just be like drowning in it because I'm so type A that I'm like, I did everything I could. And now I'm like, okay, best of luck to you. Let me know if you need help in the future. I would say the oh shit moment, I got myself into a situation we did some work for a client that decided to sue us. And I offered a full refund and
they wanted more.
And so that was scary. We settled. Obviously, I can't say much more than that, but it was a no shit moment. It was I bet. This is I had never been sued before. And I called my friend who runs a really large agency, and he said, yeah, Nat, that's normal where you're headed on this level.
The bigger boys get sued more.
He's like,
girls.
We get sued 6-7 times a year. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah.
Holy
it's totally
cow.
normal.
You got to get those numbers up.
Yeah.
I was like,
one.
Yeah. And so he walked me through it. I mean, I remember like bawling myself to sleep when that happened and being like, what's going to happen there? I'm going to prison. Like, no, I wasn't going to prison. Like, I just was like, but you don't know.
Yeah.
And, and really like, I just didn't fully understand. So that was really scary. I think another really scary moment for me, which is obviously a terrible one, is, our creative director died in a freak accident 1.5 years ago, and it was not expected. he was lifting weights and he tore a muscle and it caused a blood aneurysm and he died.
That is a freak accident.
And he was 59. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And he came on.
See, Joe, this is why you don't work out.
Well, I think the thing that
so.
people should know is before you go back to the gym and just start aggressively lifting weights, if you're 45 and up, you need to see a doctor and put together a plan to safely do that, because that's exactly what he did. And I remember talking to him. And
I'm only 44. I don't know why you're all looking at me.
You just got to keep it in mind.
I guess.
It can happen. He tore something, and yeah. And so I remember talking to him a month before it happened, and he said he was getting back into working out, and I offered to make him a workout plan, and he said he didn't need it.
Oh, man.
And I vividly remember that conversation, and then that happened. And so he actually lived in Europe at the time, but had come on after Davey left and was with me for 3.5 years and was like my uncle of the agency. I mean, he'd been in the agency world for 25 years and worked at some of the top agencies in London and wanted to retire in 5 to 7 years and was living out his life in Bulgaria. And I interviewed him and he's like, "You will not find anyone who's more passionate about branding than me. Hire me. Don't go anywhere else." And I said, okay. And I brought him on, and I can tell you, he's amazing. I would say the next year after that was one of the hardest years of my life, and that was a year and a half ago. So, yeah.
Got it. Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
That
We
was
didn't
deep.
expect to go there, did we?
No, it's fine though. That's
That was not part of the segment.
You always want to get to know,
We
the
always
real you.
try to get there with every interviewee. But
Yeah, to get deep.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work as well. But all right,
We laugh, we cry,
We're going to laugh some more. We're going to close with our
How
good
we taking it
closing
home?
segment, Joe.
All right. Well, changing subjects. We're here in this great city of Lincoln. What are things that you like to do on your spare time, whether it be entertainment, restaurants, dinners? Have you seen Deadpool versus Wolverine yet?
I haven't, but I would be open to seeing it if I knew somebody that wanted to see it with me, I guess.
I'll go with you right now.
Oh, that's very
Yeah.
sweet. Sounds good. I'll clear my afternoon.
Perfect.
I've got
There you
nothing
go.
else to do today. Things I love. Okay, well, I love the Mill. I love going there to grab a coffee. I love going there to grab a cocktail or a mocktail. My favorite Italian restaurant is Momo's, which I think a lot of people in the city know. My favorite hidden gem, though, that I think a lot of people don't know is Vung Tao on 27th and North. Vietnamese spring rolls, the number 23, the grilled beef. Mwah, so good.
where is this at?
27th and North Lincoln. It's called Vung Tao. It's
What do you mean,
authentic.
27th and North?
That's the cross
Do you mean
streets.
like North?
We have a
27?
street called North.
Oh, dang it. 27th and Y. I'm not GPS.
Why not?
It's hard for me. 27th and Y.
It's right
Sounds
next
like we
to
have
South.
a South Street.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
27th and Y. So I love that place. On the weekends, what's hard about Lincoln is it is hard to find things to do on the weekends if you don't have kids. So for me, Hub Cafe is my favorite brunch place. Avocado toast, oat milk latte, a bowl with a little bit of tahini on the side. That's my favorite. I get the same thing at every restaurant every time.
Got it.
I don't deviate. Like Momo's, it's the Brussels sprouts, it's the meatballs, it's the steak gorgonzola salad with medium rare steak. Same thing. So I love Hub Cafe. I love my coffee. I love Prescott area. I love going to Patino and picking out a new piece of jewelry, and then going to Sapon and looking at the bags, and then stopping by Wax Buffalo's little cocktail bar.
Look at
and
her name.
Golden-
Just name dropping all of them. I like
Goldenrod
it. I love
pastries
it.
to get a pastry. I mean, if you ask me, that's the Lee Douglas store is down the street, and you can go in and shop interior design, and I love that stuff. But, I would say the biggest thing for me, if I'm completely honest, and I think a lot of people my age feel this way, is it's 3 weeks on, 1 week off. So I spend a lot of my weekends completely in recovery mode. Like Andrew and I, we spend a lot of time back and forth in Omaha and Lincoln right now, but we take one day to do completely nothing. We go very hard during the week, especially with not just the entrepreneurship side, but the training, our workouts. So we take one day and we just do completely nothing. And then the next day it's we go to brunch, we go run some errands, we work out, we have a late night dinner or a date. But for us, like our 3 weeks on, 1 week off approach is like 3 weeks in Lincoln or Omaha and then 1 week out of town. So the nice thing about the affordability of living here, and unfortunately I wish Redway had stayed around because that was something that I really wanted to do.
We just wish something would.
We wish something would percolate. And I'm working with the Lincoln Airport right now on some campaign stuff.
Thank God.
I'm like, let's go, guys. Let's get it.
We are putting it all on your shoulders.
I know, right? And Rachel Barth is amazing. I mean, if anyone can do it, her and Dave can do it. But all that to say,
let us know what we need to do as Lincolnites.
How can we contribute?
Are there.
We're ready.
Yes.
Like when we had those flights, like I was like, this is so cool. Like 10-minute Uber to the airport. I'm in Vegas with my friends.
It's a whole different world when you can go home and then just go straight home.
It's a whole different world.
Yes.
So anyways, all that to say, the 1 week off, like Andrew and I love to travel. So like we just went to Florida. We're going to Yellowstone in August to hike. Like we kind of plan a trip once a month as like an experience where we go all in on something for a weekend. I love doing Europe. Like once a year, we're going to go to Europe in November for a couple weeks. So I've really built my life in entrepreneurship to be able to work from anywhere. Sometimes that can be a double-edged sword, obviously. But that's for me is like, what do you do in Lincoln? It's like in Lincoln, I recover, I relax, I support local, I enjoy the affordability of living here and the peace that comes from being here. But when I really want to go out and experience things, I usually leave Lincoln 1 week a month. So,
Got it. No, that was awesome.
Love it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on. This was a blast, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.